That was my good soul. So, I'm concerned about Mormons. You're what's called illiterate. Because those who have left the church have some form of intelligence at a varying level. And as I know you're already furious and angry with me and in denial, I had written a book back in the 2000s, which then got published on Amazon as Mormon Philosophy, which includes the To Be Mormon Literate. Had to change the title because of all the hate that I was getting for it. But I just, it's unbelievable. I had taught Mormons in the How to Teach Mormons How to Teach class that was required by the church. And I had given a pop quiz that wasn't graded. It was just for me to see where the students were intellectually, so I can figure out where to begin to try to teach them. And it was just basic gospel questions about Mormonism. And class after class after class, every single one of them failed. This was the older single adults. The majority of Mormons just go to church and just sit, and nowadays you have cell phones to occupy your time with. In my day, we did not have cell phones, and so we had to steal somebody's baby, pinch the baby to make the baby cry, so that we can then justify taking the baby out of the chapel to avoid listening to the long, boring, illiterate talks. And I saw a mother do that. I was in Canada at the ward up there where I saw it. Oh man. But and I think also in the Riverton ward down south. But if I were to give you a pop quiz, because this book was done before I began my church history research, and so that it would need to be updated with the additional information. But the basic principles are outlined in it. And so, are we Christian Mormons? Simple, basic question. And all of you got it wrong. No, we're not. Let me take you to the Book of Mormon, which is the keystone. You know what the definition of a keystone is? Have you ever looked at the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple where you got your wedding photos taken? I did, thanks to my Relief Society president who took our pictures. It's the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. So what's that doing on our temple? Well, if you read the Book of Mormon, you'd know. But right at the very beginning of the book, Mormons, you reread it a billion times, whether you make it through Isaiah or not. Verse 2, 1 Nephi, yea, I make a record. Okay, so the record of the Book of Mormon, which we are now reading, they're going to tell us the manner in which it is written. In the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews. That's not Christian. Exactly. And so, why then are you calling yourself Christian? Well, because the prophets of the true and living Jesus, which is not the Jewish Christ, if it's the learning of the Jews, it's not the Christian Jesus. These are things that are supposed to click in your head if you had a level of intelligence. But instead, you block it all out. You don't question. You don't say, wait a minute. He doesn't say he's Jesus talking to Joseph Smith, and he's seen him face to face in all his glory, and Joseph Smith isn't burning to an incendiary ash. I asked that question as a kid. It didn't make sense to me. But, as with all questions in the church, I learned to keep it to myself and wait until I studied some more to find the answers, which I always do. But you gotta do the scientific forensic process rather than the read, ponder, pray, get a spiritual feeling, call it knowledge, which is a direct illiteracy interpretation of Alma chapter 32, starting in verse 28. Are you mad at me yet? You get mad at me for telling you the truth because you've been deceived by the church, who's supposed to be the target of your anger, not me. They're the ones that have lied to you. They're the ones who have gaslit you. They're the ones who are changing Joseph's religion and forcing you to go around the world preaching and teaching the misinformation. And you get mad at me, but that's illiterate people do that. They don't get angry at the cause of the illiteracy. They instead create a straw man to get angry at, or a victim to target. And so, once you begin to recognize that the church is lying to you, and that you can't trust anything they tell you, now you have to go back to the Book of Mormon, back to Joseph Smith, and re-educate yourself. And I just helped you with a clue. The Book of Mormon tells you how to interpret it. So yes, the Book of Mormon talks about Jesus in America. Doesn't matter. It's the learning of the Jews, which means it's not Jesus. He's a symbolic type and shadow. Catching on yet? Or have you already turned off my video because you only want to listen to positive things about the church? Again, another illiteracy tactic. You won't listen to anything negative if it's about the church. But you have no problems if it's Christianity. Well, yeah, Christians aren't true. And so, yeah, you have no problem talking negative about Christians. It doesn't sink in, does it? It's because you're illiterate. And so I can't do a whole video because the YouTube employee might be working and will attack me for, we're at 9 minutes now. But you need to understand where I'm coming from, because nobody cares. You come to one video, you're offended, you put a hate comment, you put a death threat, or at minimum a thumbs down.